testosterone is the hormone that makes effort pleasurable. Have you heard of this concept?
Yeah, so this is what a lot of my third book is about. I've got a three-part lecture series if people want to check this out on YouTube. It's called Your Brain on Testosterone and the War on Masculinity. And this is one of the most interesting things from a neuropsychiatric and behavioral psychology angle when we're looking at testosterone. So the body produces the two stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, and they feel subjectively quite similar. And the body is supposed to produce these under stress so that you can produce a fight or flight response. Very useful hormones for being in a emergency situation. So what happens when a man is in a higher testosterone state is that testosterone and its metabolite dihydrotestosterone have an antagonistic effect, a buffering effect on the stress hormones physiologically in the body. And this is very important for the body to be able to produce dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter that allows us to feel pleasure, reward. It creates motivation. It's what we tend to be seeking. So if a man with high testosterone is in a scenario, let's say he wants to approach a pretty girl, maybe he wants to go rock climbing, he wants to go big wave surfing, wants to open a business, something with some risk and reward, that equation of, yeah, this is stressful, this is scary, but it feels good, it's making me feel alive, this is giving me a rush, that's going to be facilitated by the testosterone overshadowing the stress hormone response to allow for proper dopamine production. If we take that same scenario and we get rid of the testosterone, that cortisol and adrenaline level is going to be at the same in the blood, but there's going to be less internal buffering towards the effects of that. So now, when a guy is in a situation with all these ideas, there's not enough dopamine being created in the brain. So he's much more likely to go, oh, that's not worth the risk. No, 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 and become avoidant. And what this leads to, I mean, we see it in younger guys. We're not seeing these guys in their early 20s be risk takers, go and want to take on the world, leave their mark on the world, go and do these big, great things. They're going, well, I want the girls and I want the simulation of war and violence and I want the rush, but I don't want the risk. So they go for video games, pornography, gambling, drugs,
Mm.
because that's easier for them to get that hit of dopamine, but from the comfort of their own home. And my angle on this is what happens when this behavior occurs during a man's formative years, and where is he going to end up and who is he going to become at 30, 35, 40, when you're supposed to have achieved mastery of self, mastery of your career, mastery of your skills. And personally, I can really identify with this because I think I fell into that category before my use of testosterone and my brain injury, because I saw what was happening there. My band, when I was in my early 20s, we'd be touring around the east coast of Australia and I'd just be anxious for no reason. I mean, I was the singer of the headlining band. I should have been confident and having the best time. And I was just always anxious about nothing. So I would, spend my time in the hotel room or in the tour van because I didn't want this risk of just nothing. I didn't want to go outside my comfort zone because it didn't feel good. And I see that a lot in the guys who are coming through who are in their early 30s, late 30s. They don't have a lot to show for themselves. They're anxious about everything. They've got this learned fear, this social anxiety, but they can't justify why it is. They don't know where it's coming from. And then they feel this enormous sense of guilt and shame because they know that they could be better, but they just can't get that follow through. And it's like they've been, in a Formula One race the entire time with a Suzuki Swift, and they didn't realize that's what they were driving.